and never give up.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Story Time. Before we get into today's story, please don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, and make sure to hit that notification bell. Lastly, I've been asked to share with you all that for the next couple of weeks there may not be any episodes of The Vault with G-Star. This is because G-Star is currently working on a very special episode, a mini documentary entitled Bigfoot, the Best of the Best. So we can all look forward to that one in the very near future. But for now, let's get into today's story time. Today's story takes us back to the subject of UFOs and aliens and all things extraterrestrial. For those of you out there who are non-believers and think that anybody seeing a flying saucer or having an alien encounter is just a crazy kook, this story might just blow your mind. Imagine if you could break in to the secret files of the U.S. Pentagon or NASA. What would we find? Well, this is the story about the man who did. This is the story of the hacker and the truth. There is a British author by the name of Timothy Good. In his books, he tells us what his aims are. Need to know, above top secret, and an earthly disclosure all deal with some basic query. What do they, i.e. official parties, know, and why won't they tell us? Timothy Good gives maximum attention to those who have outstanding experiences to relate. Some of the material he has collected from contactees in Unearthly Disclosure, for example, especially reports of bizarre beings with chilling photographic evidence, leaves you in no doubt that something exceedingly strange is going on. Good tells us of his ambiguous liaisons with America's AFOSI, that stands for Air Force Office of Special Investigations. He concluded from anecdotal evidence that the UFO cover-up is as tightly clamped down and operating as ever in the Pentagon. What Good tells us often seems too fantastic to be true. For example, that the sheer technological capability of some races of aliens who are making their home here on Earth can be regarded as a threat, yet their presence remains of paramount importance to the US government in its lust for new technologies. Such information will always get the tongue-in-cheek, jokey treatment from official parties and parts of the media. Yet one hapless character in England has realised that behind the hollow laughter there's a chain-mailed fist protecting the truth. While searching for evidence of anti-gravity and UFO technologies, 46-year-old garymckinnon hacked into 97 NASA and Pentagon computers between February 2001 and March 2002. Besides finding the US military had a very lax computer security network, McKinnon found proof not only of UFO-based technology, but evidence of what apparently was a secret American military unit operating in outer space. So what else did he unearth? In 2006, McKinnon told Wire.com the following.
A NASA photographic expert said there was a Building 8 at Johnson Space Center where they regularly airbrushed out images of UFOs from the high-resolution satellite imaging. I logged on to NASA and was able to access this department. They had huge high-resolution images stored in their picture files. They had filtered and unfiltered, or processed and unprocessed files. My dial-up 56K connection was very slow trying to download one of these picture files. As this was happening, I had remote control over their desktop, and by adjusting it to 4-bit color and low screen resolution, I was able to briefly see one of these pictures. It was a silvery, cigar-shaped object with geodesic spheres on either side. There was no visible seams or riveting. There was no reference to the size of the object, and the picture was taken presumably by a satellite looking down on it. The object didn't look like man-made or anything like we have created. Because I was using a Java application, I could only get a screenshot of the picture. It did not go into my temporary internet files. At my crowning moment, someone at NASA discovered what I was doing, and I was disconnected. I also got access to Excel spreadsheets. One was titled Non-Terrestrial Officers. It contained names and ranks of U.S. Air Force personnel who are not registered anywhere else. It also contained information about ship-to-ship transfers, but I've never seen the names of these ships noted anywhere else.
During the cosy relationship between Tony Blair's New Labour government and the George W. Bush administration, Britain's Home Secretary, David Blunkett, shamefully put his signature on an extradition agreement under the umbrella of the War on Terror that allows British subjects to be extradited to the United States, but the agreement is not reciprocal. American subjects wanted for crimes in the UK can stay safe in their homeland. For a decade, garymckinnon, banned from accessing a computer or going online, has been fighting an intricate legal battle against extradition to the United States for his crime, where he faces a term of 70 years in jail. Neither the Bush government nor the ostensibly more liberal Obama regime have been willing to forgive, forget, and drop the case. So who says UFOs aren't dangerous? And who says having the truth isn't a threat? The story of garymckinnon is very real. What he did is a fact. In the description to this video, you can find a link to a Wikipedia page all about Gary and his story. What he saw, we do not know. But what we do know is that official parties and governments are scared and threatened by what he knows, and are trying still today to ensure that he is silenced and imprisoned for a very long time. If there's nothing to hide, why the big threat? These are the questions we need to ask ourselves. I hope you've enjoyed this evening's story time, and please join us here in the vault again for the next story time. Until then, look after each other, stay safe, and good night.